Bonsoir racers. After that very dramatic start, we find ourselves once again at Ignition Raceway over near in Wakefield for a night of Camtech and Mardave Mini and the airborne antics of some of the hot hatch drivers. Let's have a quick wander around the pits and see what we can see today. Here's the Chuckle Brothers, the chairman of the naughty table and his oppo. Young Alfie, fantastic, doing really well as young Alfie. You'll see him in a minute in my race, really developing as a driver. This brings us on to the pros. We've got Matthew Smithsonator and Matt Bull Me Over, it's a Mardave. They might well be smiling. They like each other really. We'll finish with one of the nicest shells that we're on here tonight. Guys, let's go through some changes that we've made and the reason why we've done it before we get into today's race. We're running the green body shell now and you'll see the reason for that in a sec, but before we get into that, we're running contact 37s on the rear and contact 50s on the front. I know everybody likes to know what tyres we're all running to get ideas if it helps them or see how the car's performing and this, that and the other. So let's take the lid off. The big changes that I've made to the car is we've taken out it is an old Satan now, but Satans are traditionally, the Satan motor is usually the quicker of the motors that we run with either Camtex or Mardave or be it Mini or hot hatch. The Satan 20 seems to be the preferred motor of choice for the lads that are going really quick. I've had one, it has been fast, but with that I feel like there's an advert being quoted here. Speed is nothing without control, and I don't necessarily feel as though I'm in control of the car. So I've gone back to a Core 21, so it definitely is a slower motor, but the car, because it's slower, I'm able to drive it better. I'm able to what I wanted to do with the race that you'll watch is try to hold tighter lines going around the track. The further out you drift in the corners, just getting round the corner clean, I felt like I was losing so much time in comparison to other cars that I know are a bit slower than me, but just because I can catch them on the straight, they were making up so much time in the corners because they're able to hold a tighter line. And yeah, anyway, you can judge for yourself in a minute when you watch the race. So that really is the big change that I've made to the car. The other one that I've made is going with one of these honeycomb bumpers, if you can see that. Now there's two designs. I've got an early design of this honeycomb bumper, and the new one, I don't know if you can see there, the actual chassis, the bumper sits over the top of the chassis. The new designs, it's notched out, so it all sits flush with the chassis, which I think is a really clever design. But I didn't get one of them, and I won't be buying it just for the sake of buying it, because there's nothing really wrong with that one. Other quick changes I made in comparison to where I've been running at Urmston, I've gone back to a much harder rear spring and really hard springs at the front. I've got the little Schumacher, the little spring set from Mardave. So the standard springs, I did have one floating around, they're actually quite large, but these smaller springs you can get in different, I'm sure there's a posh word for springiness of the spring, and I've gone for the blue ones that are the hardest spring. So yeah, these are the changes I've made to the car. Qualifying on first. Let's see how we get on. Not a bad first couple of corners, managed to get away. Unlike the last Rugmasters race, first corner I ended up on my roof. Now the yellow car was, on paper, according to all the qualifying times and stuff, that was kind of my biggest rival for this race. But I had noticed a couple of times during qualies that he'd rolled it a few times, so he were clearly having some problems. In a straight line he's definitely faster than me because I've swapped to a slower motor specifically so I can make myself concentrate on driving better. So in the back of my head, I was thinking if he does happen to catch me, try not to fight for the place too hard. Just let him go and carry on doing what I was doing, which was trying to concentrate on just driving closer to the corners. Much better lines going through, and try not to fight for position as much. So he's gaining on me there. Feel a bit of pressure on the back of my neck now. But there you go. I don't know if you saw in the background there. He just decided to throw itself on its roof. So that took a bit of pressure off me. Gaining on my mate Ollie now. Great racer. Very aware of what's going on. Knew I was closing. No. Drifted wide. Let me come through.
Cheers, buddy.
I had a good 5 or 6 seconds now on the yellow car, so I could just concentrate on knocking the laps off one by one and trying to still work on just my lines, trying to be a bit tighter through the corners. Certainly wasn't the fastest car on the track from a point of view of out and out speed, but because I was working on my lines a lot better, just that consistency was there for me.
So around a 7-second lead over Andy. Thanks, Ethan.
Great driving there from young Alfie, letting me go past. Although I decided to have a bit of a moment there, so we ended up having a bit of a race on here.
Don't take us out, Alfie.
Which is fair.
Showing no fear.
He wasn't for letting me go. As I say, for a young lad, he can drive. Ooh. Just put a move on there on me. On there. Let him go. Be patient. I'll sneak him at the hairpin. Just that little gap. At this point I was even closing in on the yellow car. I can't possibly lap the whole field, can I?
2 minutes left in this race. The running order at 4 minutes is 1, 3, 5, 4, 2.
What happened there was Andy got caught up with something, but gentlemanly, great driving, great awareness. Let me go through because he knew I was lapping him. Great racing etiquette from everybody here. And this is where you see mine isn't the fastest car. Thank you, Ollie. Oh, he got me back. Great move. Oh, and another great move. That was good racing. Yeah, pressure definitely off now after it. Andy took another big spin there, so. Shout out for Howard on the mic, doing the race commentary.
just to make his commentary sound better when he's actually got a win.
Said alert there. I was just a bit slower and a bit more patient coming past Alfie then. Oh, I think that's the first mistake of the night that I've made.
Andy there rolling.
Andy throwing his car at the problem.
4, 1. Just waiting on Andy to finish his lap. 3.
Marvellous. I think that's it.
1.
So, started on pole and from first place on pole to first place as a victory. Not a bad afternoon, that.